Prime Minister Carney has called a by-election for August 18th in the Alberta riding Battle River Crowfoot. Now that's the riding where Conservative MP Damien Carrick resigned to pave the way for leader Pierre Poilievre to run and win a seat, hopefully win a seat in the House of Commons. Poilievre has been on the outside looking in since losing his longtime Ottawa area riding in the April general election. And that's, as I said, coming up in August. Prime Minister Carney, one of the first things he promised originally was that he wouldn't play political games, that he would call a by-election if a seat became vacant so that Poilievre would have the opportunity to try and get a seat in the House. It's been during question period, during the brief sitting that they had that ended last month, and just things in general, it's been rather a breath of fresh air, if you will, not watching and listening to the attack dog with all of the 4 or 5 glitzy phrases, slogans that he has or had, and just repeat. It's been a breath of fresh air that way. Now, Poilievre has been on the outside, and when you're on the outside, especially when the Commons is sitting, it's a heck of a lot tougher to get any kind of attention and cut through the political noise. And we've been really witnessing that over the last couple of months. Now, this is an extreme, it's probably the safest Conservative riding federally in the country. And kudos to this guy who, in some respects, kudos to him, because if I'm a constituent and I'm a hardcore Conservative, yeah, I'm going to want the leader of the party sitting in the House of Commons, but I might also be slightly ticked off that the guy I voted for to represent me locally is resigning to let the leader parachute in and run for the seat. I don't know if there will be any sort of feeling that way, but it could surface to a degree. And Poilievre's already been out there even before the by-election was called and before the resignation, the MP's resignation became official. And in a conversation with Vashi Kapalis on Power and Politics, Carrick said that he was not asked by the party or pressured in any way by anyone or the leader to resign, but he talked it over with his wife, and he hasn't been offered any financial compensation to make up for what he could eventually lose in the form of his MP's pension because of his resigning when he did. He just felt that it was the right thing for him to do for both the leader and the party. Okay, I have to give it to the guy, but for taking that kind of an approach and standing up that way. But I don't know, but like Poilievre's been out there, as I say, even before this all became official, starting to lay the groundwork. And I don't think he'll have a hard time, Eddie.
Yeah.
But by the same token, this is a guy who lost his seat that he's held for a while in the Ottawa area. And yes, the riding boundaries were redrawn, but so were a dozen others across the country. But he lost by 5,000 votes.
Yeah.
And there are some political observers who were suggesting that perhaps what he forgot about or overlooked or ignored was the fact that you're in Ottawa. Most of the people in your riding are either working for or through a federal agency, department, government. they're connected somehow. They're employed, and of course, one of the things that he's been talking about was cutting the size of the civil service, and frankly, I don't have an issue with that because it's top heavy right now, and I know I think Carney and the Liberals are trying to right size it a bit by not renewing contracts for casuals and that sort of thing, because Trudeau went on a hiring spree during the pandemic to try and improve service. Well, that was a major fail because the service got worse.
Right.
We had more people on the payroll, and the service got worse. And as the longer they're there, it's like the dust bunny behind a piece of furniture. You never move; it just keeps getting bigger because you're not doing anything with it. So
good. Well, good description. I like that.
But he lost by 5,000 votes, and to me, there's a message there. Government, yes, but I think there was another message too, perhaps because of his focus on the leadership at the time, that he started to ignore the everyday issues within the constituency, and maybe he didn't have good people in his constituency office to handle things for him on his behalf. And nothing will get people upset any faster than not getting anywhere with the constituency office of your MP or your MPP, your MNA, your MLA, whatever. So I think it's a little bit broader. And don't forget, this is the guy who had at one point a 25-point lead.
Yeah.
He could have packed up and gone away for 2 months. He probably should have, in hindsight, and still won the election and would have been prime minister. And because he failed to pivot, and as leader, even if it was more on his campaign team and his campaign manager, he's still the leader. He has to wear it.
Yeah.
They didn't pivot fast enough, and boom, all of a sudden, he's on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
And has he been as effective? I don't think so. I don't think he's.
Me neither. I mean, you showed that you showed that clip of what he was saying. I've seen him on camera since he lost the election. He just doesn't seem to have the same gumption in terms of putting himself out there as someone that would be considered a force in the Canadian government. He's just not speaking that way at all. Almost to a certain degree that he almost speaks like he's already defeated. And the sad thing about that is he's going to win this riding because of the history of this riding in terms of the tendency of where they typically vote. So here we have a potential leader of the opposition that doesn't seem to have a very strong and powerful walk and message to convey. How is he going to act once he wins that riding? Okay, and then he becomes the official leader of the opposition. What is he going to do, Gary? I mean, I don't know if he's got the energy or the strength to go back to his usual theatrics in the chamber during question period. How is he going to come across during question period? How is he going to come across the Canadians once he actually wins that riding? I don't know. I'm almost to a point convinced that Carney is hoping that Poilievre wins that riding and is the official leader of the opposition, because I think Carney is going to dance circles around this guy. He just doesn't convey a sense of confidence any longer ever since he lost the election. And with that kind of body language when he goes in front of a camera, goes in front of reporters, grabs a microphone, makes a comment. It's just not that forceful Poiliev that you and I had grown to love when we actually saw him come on television. I mean, I know it's constantly, oh, you know what, Trudeau the last 10 years and the Liberals the last 10 years, and blah, 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 blah. It's 10 years Liberals. And he can't go with that anymore. And just to look at how Carney has been handling himself as unofficial Prime Minister of Canada and then winning the election, although it's a minority government, and conducting the government as if it was a majority mandate, that says a lot of, Poilievre should look himself in the mirror and say, my goodness, have I got competition in front of me? How is he going to overcome this? And his backbenchers, the people that are working in as part of the opposition, the critics. You know what? Would you want somebody like that representing you, not having the confidence and the chutzpah to actually do what he needs to do? Is he going to cower there under Carney? That's a big ask of Poilievre. I don't know if he's got the mettle to do this.